The film begins in 1947 by showing Venice. An eagle comes and sits among some animals. After attacking an animal suddenly, he eats it. It was actually a dream that a detective named Hercules was having. He was shocked and woke up. Later, he gets ready and comes out. There was a long queue of people who wanted to meet him. They came to Hercules to solve their cases, because Hercules used to solve such cases whose mystery no one can solve. But he meets no one here, because he got retired. He has stopped working now. A boy among them came to Hercules, whom a police officer stops as he comes. He comes and slaps the police officer, because he has been given the responsibility of Hercules. When Hercules is having his breakfast, his officer comes and tells him, "Sir, a girl has come to meet you. According to her, she is your friend, and she asked me to show this apple." Saying this, he shows Hercules the apple that he recognizes. Actually, this girl was a friend of Hercules. They met after a long time. The girl is a very well-known writer. The writer, Hercules' friend, tells him, a famous singer in the city who named Rowena. Before a few days, her daughter died in a strange way. It was said that she was ill. Some days before her death, she called off her engagement. Because there is Halloween, there's a party in her house. Halloween is a festival in which people come in different costumes. According to the writer, they will call a priest lady at their house. She belongs to a family that believes in ghosts. She'll tell after feeling if there are ghosts in the house, because that house is considered ghostly. They can talk to the ghosts. I want you, Hercules, to come. We'll have great fun. Show that priest lady by proving her wrong that there is nothing like ghosts. First, Hercules denied it by saying that he had retired. When his friend says, "Let's meet at Rowena's party," then he got agreed. In the evening, all of them begin to come to the party. As it was a Halloween party, so the children were gathered. By a show, everyone was informed that a deadly disease broke out a few times earlier. After treating them, the doctors and the nurses left the children. The children died. It is said that the ghosts of the children are still present here. But don't worry, we'll have a party here. The children become happy and everyone begins to enjoy. Now, Rowena's servant met a boy. He was the son of a doctor. The servant asked him, "Why? And with whom you come here with?" On which the doctor's son says, "Rowena invited me and my father." On which the servant nodded her head. Later, the servant comes and meets the writer and Hercules. The writer again begins to tell Hercules that Rowena's daughter died in the same house. Her name was Alicia. It is said the souls which are present in this house have taken the soul of Alicia in their control. She was beaten and fell down from the roof. Hearing this, Hercules says this is wrong. There is nothing like ghosts. The doctor's son came and met his father. He was quite afraid and nervous. After some time, Rowena comes and meets everyone. She begins to say, "I want to know the reason and the secret of my daughter's death. For that, I can do anything." After some time, the lady priest also comes with her companions, who was wearing a strange mask. Rowena tells her that I've made all the preparations. You can do the rituals, i.e., talking to souls. The priest says that I can feel the souls down. Hearing this, Hercules comes in front of her and says that I don't believe in ghosts. Prove this. In the next moment, there was a strange scene. Falls down suddenly. Seeing this, everyone gets worried. The children were taken out immediately. Now, they begin to go upstairs to check that room. The doctor was standing in the way. The servant begins to tell Hercules about him, that he used to be a doctor in the army. But seeing the condition of the soldiers there, he began to worry. He had such a disease that he became the victim of depression. This is the reason that he remains quite nervous. When Rowena's daughter, Alicia, got ailed, he looked after her. They came to the room upstairs, whose key only Rowena had. He opened the room and they went inside. This was Alicia's room in which her old luggage was laid. Hercules begins to see that all carefully. The servant tells him that Rowena used to love her daughter a lot. Both of them lived in this house. Rowena earned a lot of money from singing. When Alicia grew up, she fell in love with her friend. Both got engaged. The reflection of this house gradually affected Alicia. She used to see ghosts and was quite worried. I couldn't see her condition. One day, the ghosts beat her a lot. They made big wounds on her body. Later, they controlled her body and killed her after throwing her from the roof. Now, Alicia's fiancé also comes here. He showed her the card and asked who had invited me to the party. Although I didn't want to come, Alicia says this is my party. I didn't call you. Both have an argument on this matter. We can assume that they don't like each other. In the meantime, everyone gathered to perform the ritual, i.e., talking to the souls. The priest tells everyone that she is going to talk to Alicia's soul. Whatever she says to me will be written automatically on my typewriter. As this process begins, the priest begins to talk to Alicia's soul. Hercules begins to watch this carefully. Alicia says that I've come here with my own will. Along with this, she talked more. That was all typed automatically on the typewriter. Seeing this, Hercules moved, and as he opened the chimney, a boy came and fell. He was actually the companion of the priest. He tells everyone that the priest was pointing to him, and he was writing with the help of the remote. A drama is going on. There is no ghost. They're fooling everyone and doing drama. Suddenly, the priest became unwell. Someone begins to suffocate her. Because of this, she begins to scream loudly. Her chair begins to shake. Then she suddenly begins to talk to Rowena. She says that someone has killed Alicia in this house. Seeing this, Rowena gets nervous. The priest begins to scream loudly. Everyone takes care of her, and the doctor calms her down. After getting normal, she begins to talk to Hercules. Hercules tells her that you're doing a drama. The priest says that I'm not doing any drama. There are so many secrets in this house. To know about them all, you've to take my place. To take my place, you've to wear my mask and coat. Then you'll see the whole truth. Hercules agrees and moves on after wearing her mask and coat. He got thirsty and began to take water at a place. Suddenly, someone holds her neck and tries to kill him. He began to tremble and stopped suddenly, seeing what it seems as if he died. After some time, when the doctor takes care of him, it came to know that he had fainted. Hercules tells the doctor that I'm assured that the priest had tried to kill me. Suddenly, the sound of screams started to come from outside. They saw that the priest had fallen to an idol that pierces her skin, and the priest dies. Everyone saw this and they got worried. After a while, they gathered at a place. Seeing the condition of Hercules, Rowena gives him a tea. She says, after taking this, you'll get better. When Hercules takes this, he really feels better. Later, Hercules begins to watch everyone. His writer friend says that the priest told us that Alicia died here. I think someone has killed her because of this reason, because she came to know about truth. On this, I have doubts about Alicia's fiancé. He immediately says, "No, I don't have any involvement in this." Both companions of the priest became worried about their boss's death. Suddenly, Hercules gets and unlocks the whole house. He says there has been a murder in this house. Being a detective, I'm taking this case into my hands. I'll solve the mystery of this case after inquiry. Later, he talked to Rowena and asked what Alicia liked. Later, she takes him upstairs where the flowers are grown. She says the bees used to come here from where we got honey that Alicia liked because it is good for health. Further, she says, I think there are many secrets joined to my daughter. That's why I called them here. because I used to hear her voices, so I want to know what happened to my daughter." Hercules also hears strange voices from the house, and when he checks the whole house, the walls were dripping water. Even there was nothing like water. After a while, Hercules comes to the doctor and checks the priest's body. He tells Hercules that there are no forcible marks on her body, that we say someone had picked her and hit her. But she died because of falling. Hercules sees that the doctor is still worried, and the doctor's son comes and controls him. Even he was young, but was wise. The doctor tells Hercules that I have seen bloodshed in the war, where many soldiers were ended in front of my eyes. When I reached here, I saw the same thing with Alicia. She suffers from the pain because of her sickness, and she also sees ghosts. I couldn't help Alicia at that time. I feel pity when she suffers from pain, but it was difficult for me to understand all that. Meanwhile, Hercules feels strange, and he goes to washroom. He was standing behind the mirror and sees Alicia's ghost behind him. She was looking terrible, but when Hercules sees behind being panicked, there was none. Seeing him panicked, the doctor's son comes and was reading a book. He asks Hercules, "Are you fine?" He said yes. Then he says to the doctor's son, "The book you are reading is best after it." Hercules comes down and starts checking around. He sees a girl standing in the shadow being scared. Hercules says, "Come out! Don't be scared, nothing will happen." Suddenly, the rider comes and asks Hercules with whom is he talking? He says with this girl. But when he turns, there was no girl. They get shocked and they hear weird voices while chasing those voices. They reach the basement. There were the dead bodies of the kids in a worst condition who died because of that deadly disease. They have become rotten here. The doctor's son says these are the dead bodies of those kids. Hearing this, Alicia's fiancé says, "Maybe your father has ended them." This makes the doctor furious and he starts beating him. There was a fight between them. When all were stopping them to fight, Hercules sees many honeybees in a skeleton, and the doctor leaves Alicia's fiancé on his son's saying. The doctor's son makes him calm down and gives him medicine, and the doctor says, while talking to Hercules, "I think you also sees the same like me." Saying this, he sleeps. Hercules makes the doctor lay down in Alicia's room to sleep and keeps the key with him while locking it. After it, he talks to Alicia's fiancé about it. But then suddenly, her condition starts getting worse and there were a lot of fights between us. Due to it, she has a breakup with me. Then one day I found out about her death and this caused me suffer pain. Because I love her so much and he proves this while showing him Alicia's picture which he kept with him. Then he says, "I still love her but her mom wanted to separate us." He also shows Hercules the letter, which was sent and Alicia's fiancé was called to the party. Hercules also sees a glimpse of an apple in it. He starts feeling strange when the rider sees Hercules is feeling weird, so she takes him out. Hercules' officer brings a chair for him to sit, but he makes him sit on it. Later, he says, while showing apples to his rider friend, "I know you like apples, and I also saw an apple's glimpse in Alicia's fiancé's letter. So I think you have called him to the party. This clear many things here." Hercules asks his officer companion, "You visited here when Alicia died, and you took out her body from the water on it." He says yes. And hearing this, Hercules says, "This means you two have brought me here, and you know all this already." He says to the rider, "Your purpose to bring me here must be to prove me wrong. That I used to say there are no ghosts, but in real you also believe in ghosts. That they exist, this is the matter. But why you have done this? Tell me the reason?" On it, the rider says yes. "You guessed it right. I wanted to prove you wrong that you say ghosts don't exist, because the 3 novels I wrote, they failed. And of this time, I prove a huge detective like you wrong. I would become famous." Hearing all this, Hercules blames her that she ended the priest, but she denies that she is not responsible for her death. I just wanted to prove you a liar because of fame. Nothing more than this. Suddenly, they hear voices again. And when she checks, she finds the doctor's dead body in Alicia's room, who ended himself while stabbing a knife. The doctor's son was sad because of this, and Hercules doesn't suspect his writer friend, but suspects them. But they say we didn't visit this room, because just you have the keys to this room. Hearing this, Rowena says this is done by the ghosts like they did to my daughter. Compelled her to end herself. They have done the same with the doctor today. Knowing this, they all try to run from there, because, obviously, there is danger of ghosts. Hercules starts investigating the servant. She says, Rowena wasn't well that night when Alicia's died. I asked her to sleep and went to Alicia to handle her, and she was suffering from pain. Hercules immediately says, then you must have given her medicine. On it, the servant says yes while weeping. Here, Hercules sees Alicia's picture when she was young. She was standing near her honey flowers in the picture. Seeing her young, Hercules remembers that she is the same girl whose ghost he saw in the house. That was actually Alicia's childhood. Then he comes to Alicia's room, and during this, a cup falls from him mistakenly. But when he bends down, he finds a torn picture of Alicia's fiancé. After it, Hercules locked the whole house. He says, while gathering everyone, that there is no ghost, because the priest and the doctor also died along with Alicia. That means the murderer is among you. After it, he joins the torn picture of Alicia and her fiancé and says, the real murderer is none other than Rowena. This makes everyone shocked. Even Rowena becomes furious and says loudly, how can you blame me for my daughter's death? Prove it. On it, Hercules says you were doing fielding for honey with your daughter. You didn't give her honey because she liked it, or it is healthy, but you give her honey so that she will get hallucinations after eating that flower's honey. Means she will see the things that don't exist in real, like she starts seeing ghosts after using this honey that really don't exist, and she was just hallucinating. This happened because of a layer made in those flowers.